Hi, and welcome to the Quick and Dirty Romance Podcast. We're your hosts, romance authors and bicoastal best friends. I'm Skye McDonald, author of the Connecticut Commodore Steamy Hockey Romance series and the new retro romance series, Love and Mixed Tapes.
And I'm Sarah Smith, author of the Denver Bashers Steamy Hockey Romance series and the new college hockey romance, Cocky Mother Pucker.
Together, we write as Sarah Skye, the best-selling duo behind the Unlikely Pairing series. We write hot books about complicated feelings, emotional risk, and really good sex.
Each episode, we pull back the curtain on what it's actually like to be contemporary romance authors. We talk writing desire, building tension, navigating publishing, and exactly how those infamous sex scenes come together on the page.
It's smart, honest, a little filthy, and wrapped up in 30 minutes or less. We respect your time, but we will leave you breathless.
So before we get started, please take a second to tap those stars wherever you're listening. Ratings help more romance readers find us and trust us. We notice every single one.
Yes.
So today we are going to talk about getting the ick. Because seriously, nothing kills a vibe faster than reading a line and going, ugh, absolutely not. Right, Sky?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The ick. All right, let's see. Just off the top of your head, something that gives you the ick. Don't think about it.
Okay. Age gap trope where she is very like she's barely legal and he's like much older. That gives me the ick.
Hmm.
Max.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
what's something that gives you the ick in a romance?
Um, so many, but a secret baby. A secret baby, like where she doesn't tell the father that it's his kid. We'll unpack that. Let's
Yeah.
look at the icks in romance. All right, so let's first of all define an ick because it's not the same as a trope you don't like. And mine kind of blurs that line, I realize that. And actually, so does yours. So let's clarify.
Yeah.
It's a break in immersion. Okay. So it's a reaction that you have. All right. So, for example, Sarah is being an age gap. Yes, age gap is a trope, but Sarah's is specifically around a woman being incredibly young. It's a cringe, it's an eye roll, it's an emotional disconnect. Mine is around the irresponsibility of not telling someone that they created another human. Okay. It's a cringe. It's not that the trope itself is always bad, it's just that it takes us out of immersion. It's to me, it's a non-starter. Okay, so an ick is anything that pulls the reader out of the fantasy. All right, and it does not have to just be tropey or necessarily about romance, but we're going to get into it. Um, the language of icks, character icks, chemistry killers, all of them. This is basically just going to be Sarah and I raging at the things that we can't stand in
Yeah.
romance and books in general. But let's start with the language icks of overused or phrases, anything that gives you the ick in terms of terminology.
Okay, for me, an ick is um when I'm reading and they're coming up with and the author is like using weird euphemisms for dick for
Hmm.
penis essentially because like what I prefer is just call it dick or cock, like let's
Hmm.
just call it that, or
Hmm.
even like sometimes like erection is fine, like especially when like
Hmm.
the it depends on context obviously, but like I'm cool with erection, but like when in
Hmm.
like, heat of the moment stuff in a book, call it cock or dick, I'm
Yeah.
good. But like when they're like talking about like his member or like something like that, I'm like, oh, this is so, don't do that. I hate that. I hate it so much.
His
Uh,
throbbing member.
yeah, I just don't. And like I'm
Ugh.
good with a throbbing cock. I'm good. Or a
Yeah.
throbbing dick, but like not throbbing member. I don't know why, because there's nothing wrong with the word member as a word. It's just like there's just something so icky about it to me. And I don't put it in my books. But like, yeah, that's me. That's a word. It's not
Yeah.
even a word. It's essentially like any word that's not dick or cock to describe a penis in a
Okay.
sex.
But as we were
Like,
getting ready for this episode, I was thinking, I feel like we need a campaign to bring back the phrase velvet wrap steel because it is so ridiculous
yeah, that
that
doesn't
it's
give me
like
the ick.
almost funny. And it doesn't give me the ick too. I mean, I think if I was reading it in like seriousness, I'd be like, what? But that used to be a thing in like body stripper romances. That was a euphemism for penis that like seemed to be used quite a lot. And it's so silly that I'm like, how do we bring this back in a way that people will laugh as they're reading it? But anyway, yeah, I don't like that either. I don't like folds for a woman. Ugh.
Yeah,
Blech,
I know,
blech.
and I've read that a lot actually, like,
Yeah.
and it kind of surprised me because it wasn't a thing for a while. Because
No, it
okay,
wasn't.
another one of my icks, Skye, beautifully transitioning to what one of my icks is when is weird euphemisms for the female main character's genitals, essentially.
Yeah.
Like I am good with like pussy. That's fine. That's like a
Yeah.
true classic. I think that works really well in multiple contexts.
Yeah.
Then okay, even like cunt is
Yeah.
cool. Like not to call someone as a name, but like in the heat of the moment for sex, I think that's perfect. But like other than that, I don't know if we need like a
I'll
million
use
other.
labia.
Okay,
I'll
sure.
use labia and
Yeah.
I'll say like his tongue slid between my lips because
Oh yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
pretty standard phrase. It's kind of like cheeks for ass. Like these are not like I'm uncomfortable. This is like a secondary phrase for it. I will
Mhm.
not say folds. But I will say labia. And I will say vagina, but I mean like but it also kind of like you said about penis, like it depends on what we're doing. Because if we're taught like especially in dialogue, like no, I'm no. But
Mhm.
like it kind of does depend. And we've talked before about how you do kind of need an arsenal of adjectives because you can't use the same word so many times, even though the same word is doing something so many times. So
Right.
you do need that. But yeah, like I don't like my sex ached, like my pussy throbbed, okay, like or
Yeah.
clenched or anything like that. It's the words that the reason it gives me the ick is because it makes me feel like the author is uncomfortable talking about the thing that they are writing. And
Yes.
that pulls me out of immersion because it's like if you don't feel comfortable talk like for example, my mother at one point when I was younger used the phrase the foundations department and like my sister and I were like, "Do you mean the underwear department? Like it's a bra. Like it's not a but in the same vein, if you are not comfortable explicitly describing the things that happen during sex, then don't write explicit sex. That's okay. There's a whole subgenre of romance where you don't actually have to put that on the page. But if you're going to put it on the page, call it what it is. Don't dance around the words for it.
Totally.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think the reason you don't like member is because it takes you away from what it actually is. Like a member, like that could be anything.
Yeah.
It feels like a robotic arm or something. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't speak to like real people.
Right.
Um,
Because this is a romance. We're writing like, especially in like a steamy scene, like it's supposed to be hot and sexy and
yeah,
carnal and like
yeah,
the moment heated. Like I don't want to see your member.
yeah. Your member. It's like, are you
Yeah.
a cyborg? What is this?
Yeah.
Yes. I don't like that. I don't. Other awkward. I had somebody say in a panel once that they don't like hardened peaks for nipples.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that elicited like everybody a lot of people in the room were like really because and I was too because that to me is like a useful euphemism because you can only say nipples so many times like
Yeah.
that
That
one
does
to me
not give
it
me the
doesn't give me the ick but I could see how it would for some classify as like yet again not actually just saying what it is. I could see it. I
sure.
don't know.
Yeah.
um all right, character icks, things that break believability or that don't work for you in terms of characters.
Okay, I hate um when the male main character bullies her. Like
Mm,
I like that, and that again is a trope. I understand that's a trope, but like you see it sometimes in other subgenres of romance where like he bullies her pretty bad, and like
hmm
I don't know, there's just something about that that I hate. It comes off as like borderline abusive to me, and I don't like that, which is interesting because I love when the female main character is like mean to the male main character. But in the context that I've like read that and I've written it, like he loves it when
Hmm.
him like he will like purposely get like tease her or like show up or do stuff to like elicit that like meanness from her because he loves it. Like
Hmm.
he loves it when she's giving him a hard time or when she's like telling him off, like it turns him on almost. Like I think that that's really fun and playful, and I think the reason why I don't like the reverse where he bullies him or where he bullies her is that like it's borderline like mistreatment and abuse,
Yeah.
and that's what bothers me about it. um
Yeah. So my book scored on, they were childhood bullies, but
oh, that's
I
fine if they bully
always,
each other, that's fine.
that's
Yeah.
the thing. So like they were seventh grade bullies, but I always make it really clear that they were each other's. And even in the book, he's like, you put sand in my lunchbox. Like you threw my coat in the girls' room and told the like
Yeah.
she was giving it as well as she like,
Yeah.
so because I agree. I think it's a form of abuse. And I do love a good enemies to lovers. Like my book Summer Hate, he's a dick to her. Like they're working together. It's a workplace romance. But he's not bullying her. He's just being like kind of passive aggressive or like, and then, but also, tend to write those moments in his POV and have him saying, like, what the hell is wrong with you? Stop acting that way. You're acting like a little boy. Um, but also, she has no problem giving it right back. So he's not like torturing her or like being unnecessarily cruel. And he's not like calling her ugly or anything like that. He's just like being kind of a dick. But even then, he knows he's being a dick, and she is fully aware and has no problem letting him know that she's aware of it too. So I get that. I don't like I don't like when they get in the bedroom and it's like suddenly who are these two people? It's like you've been right like and I don't see this a lot, but like a sudden 180 in perspective or in character in the bedroom. I love when somebody who is like normal who has been kind of like either laid back or very nice or kind of a cinnamon roll has no problem taking the upper hand in the bedroom. I love that. But if like suddenly he's like this dom and it's kind of like you haven't built that in anywhere, it's like because it kind of goes back to writing sex. Like you need to write the sex that matches the characters. So like if all of a sudden I'm in the middle of this scene that has nothing, has no vibe like the rest of the book, then that really will take me out because it's like this isn't a porn, you
Right.
know? It should go with it should go with the characters. So even if the character is suddenly bolder or suddenly like talking filthy when that doesn't line up with what they've initially or they had been doing, I want to see like them kind of surprising themselves and their lover with it. And if you do that, then like I'm all here for it. But if like all of a sudden he's like, you know,
It's like,
out of nowhere, yeah, it's like, wait, this isn't this guy. Like
yeah.
this doesn't work. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah, no, totally. I am 100% the same way because I love a bossy book boyfriend in the bedroom. I love that.
Uh-huh.
And I especially love that if it's been hinted at prior, like in normal daily life when they're not
Yes.
sex with each other. Like if it's hinted at. But yeah, if he's like a big goofball and there's like no
Yeah.
build up to it, just it really takes me out of the story, and it doesn't make me believe him as a character. But no,
Yes.
I love it. Like, and there are ways that you can like breadcrumb it, obviously.
Yes.
Like he can be very like protect, or like the thing that I've done sometimes is like sometimes he's very like protective of her, and that like he'll like if some like like they're walking, he like grabs her so she doesn't like go across the street, or like
Hmm.
what I'm saying, like stuff like that, or like he is kind of bossy in that like he'll tell, not in a disrespectful, creepy, abusive way, but he'll tell her what to do, like,
Hmm.
or like open your mouth, eat it, like I told, like what I like. And then in the bedroom, that translate, you know what I'm saying? So like, but yeah, if you have your characters so different in that way.
Yeah.
Also, I do love like a cinnamon roll, golden retriever, book boyfriend who is like bossy and dom in the
Yeah.
bedroom. I love that. But again, there's always like a precursor to that. Like you always know, like, oh, there's something up with this guy. Like either you see
Yes.
it from his POV or like he does stuff in his behavior that you're like, oh yeah, yeah, okay. I can see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, I in my book Summer Heart, Sam is like the biggest golden retriever I've ever written. So like when you finally get to the steamy scene, they're like both kind of experimenting with like how they feel about this. And he says something and she's like, "Whoa, who are you all of a sudden?" But it's in his POV and he's like, "I don't even know what I said." Like, but he's like, "But I'm gonna go with it because she likes it." So he like just keeps going. But it's like that part of him he's like discovering too because this is kind of a new adult romance. So he doesn't have, it's not this isn't a 30-year-old, it's like a 22-year-old. So like he's kind of discovering as he goes. And so it definitely worked with that before. But yeah, I want it to be, you need to breadcrumb it because you're right. Like if it feels like suddenly like these two characters are not the characters I've been reading, then that's not going to work. Um, Let me think. Other icks. It gives me the ick when people try to write BDSM and they don't clearly know what they're doing.
Mhm.
Like there are people who can write like a dom sub story and do it really well, and then there are people who made millions of dollars on dom sub stories and clearly did not know what they were talking about. And so that that kind of thing, but also to a broader sense, like if you don't know what you're talking about, not that you had to have done it, but like if it just like it kind of is a tell if you're working with something that you don't really know what you're doing because it comes off as like icky and inauthentic, right? So again, it's not about like, oh well, I've done all of these things or I've always wanted these things or I even particularly like these things, but it is about making it feel authentic. Like, okay, so here's one of my big icks, big huge icks: do not show any kind of anal without lube. Okay. I have seen like, oh, I just spit in my like, no,
I'm like cringing.
no, I know, like you're clenching up just thinking about it, right? Like it's just, and you and I think, did an interview on things like this, and we said, like, lube is your friend. Don't be afraid of that. And also, like, oh, well, spit is enough. Like, no,
Mm-mm.
it isn't. And this is the problem with that. It's not enough, and it gives me the ick. It's like everyone knows that it's not good. You don't want to do that.
No.
And I will say, building on that, now that I'm on a tear, I also don't like not using protection. Like any kind of issue where it's either incredibly unrealistic that this could happen without some sort of like lead up or like work in. Like, okay, a virgin romance where suddenly she's just getting pounded all over the place. Like that's not like you got to work into that. But I really don't like we don't need condoms, or I don't want like without it being like worked into the story. You know what I mean?
No, totally. I'm 100% in agreement with that. Like I it always takes me out of it when the characters aren't using protection and it's not
Hmm.
discussed because there are scenes where like the characters don't use protection, but they're like, "Hey, I got tested," and she's like, "Yeah,
Hmm.
too. Also, I'm on the pill or I have an IUD or whatever." Like, okay, cool. Yeah, you guys don't need. I'm not. Doesn't need to be like a freaking Trojan condom commercial. Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But like, yeah, for me personally, it just would absolutely take me out. So yeah, I don't like that either. Ugh.
No, I don't like it. And I think I always have the moment where they go from using protection to not using protection, and it's always her decision.
Mhm.
And they have a conversation about it. Like, and generally he's like, wait, are you sure?
Mhm.
Because I don't want to hear anything about like he would rather not.
No,
Like that is
no,
it. No, I don't
that's
want to hear it. No.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I always have that, but it's always her decision, and there's always a discussion about safety, except for in my 80s book Summer Heart, which I got some feedback on from readers. They were like, "Oh, unprotected sex. What are you talking about?" This book is set in 1986, and I did my homework. Between a heterosexual couple in 1986, this would not have been a conversation they would have had. So when I released the book, I actually put like an author's note at the front that was like, I love that you're concerned about safety, but in the context of the story, that would be an anachronism. Stay safe. But that is the only time I have ever like had them just casually not, you know?
No, I think I mean, obviously, like you want to be true to whatever setting and decade you're writing for the genre.
Right.
Obviously, that's very important. But yeah, I think it's good that we're like we are that concerned about safe sex. Yay, I think that's a good thing. But like your author note, I think alleviates any kind of like issues with that. I will say, okay, this brought up something like an ick for me. I read a
Mhm.
book, a romance, and it was set in modern times. And they're like the characters have had sex before and they're having like another love scene, and he slides like he inserts his dick in her without a condom and she doesn't realize it at first. So it's like he's low-key stealthing her, which if you
Mm,
guys don't know, or like stealthy is or stealthing is when like you're having sex with somebody, a guy, and he like in the middle of the act he'll take his the condom off without telling the woman. And like that's gross. And that's actually like
yeah.
or that's like a crime that's considered
Hmm.
sexual assault. So like I read that and that instantly gave me the ick. I'm like, this is gross. Cause like she's like, wait, are you wearing a condom? And he's like, no. And she's like, I want you to put on a condom. And he was like mad about it. And I was like, instantly like, fuck.
Ah,
Yeah, I was so upset and mad. That gave me the ick, but also I got really mad.
yes. Yes. That would be a big no. Any other like descriptions or things like
Okay.
my, okay.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, yeah. When you talked about spinning,
Uh-huh.
spinning as lube, okay, an ick that I have when reading this in a romance novel is when he spits in her mouth. I hate that. I think that's disgusting, but it's in a lot of romances, and some people like it, which is great. But like, oh, I will say, I do like when they're like at a bar or something, or like it's some sort of scene, and they're like kind of like the chemistry's amping up, um, and they're like doing shots or something, and he's like, "Open your mouth," and he'll like
Mm,
spit liquor into her mouth.
hmm.
I think that's a chemistry, yes. But like
Hmm.
if it's just him spitting in her mouth, I think that's icky and gross. I don't want that. That's so disgusting.
I
Yeah.
almost put that in a book. I had that in Date. And one of my beta readers was like, oh. I was like, okay, fine, I'll take it out. I'll take it out. That's interesting. Do you use the word spit or anything? Like I have one where it's like he's describing like how spit is running on her face after she's been, giving blowjob.
Oh,
Um, but like he didn't spit on her. Like it's like just part of it, part of the
yeah.
description.
Yeah, I've used that. I mean, I guess I don't, maybe I should go back or maybe I should start doing that, start describing saliva more in those sex acts, because that is real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like in that context, that doesn't bother me at all.
Okay. It's just
It's
the
just
spitting
like,
into her mouth.
right, which I have read a lot. I'm like, what is this? What is happening? What is wrong with people? But like, it's fine. Like, I don't want to yuck anybody's yum. If you're into it, that's cool. I just like, that gives me the ick. Um,
What did Hudson Williams say? Don't be nice to me, spit in my mouth. It's a
right.
thing.
Right, and that's great, but like, and I heard that, I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm just like,
You were like, ick, ick.
yeah, I can't, and I love, he's great. I'm just like, I
Oh
can't.
no.
Uh, yeah, yeah, but you know what, those guys, so many things give me the ick. Like, I just can't.
But so
So,
I know, because like other things too, like miscommunication. Oh, okay. Not just miscommunication. I think everyone got tired of that trope in like the mid-aughts. But one thing that will give me the ick in terms of like character or plot, I really, really don't like it when women are like shitting on each other or tearing each other down. I really don't like that, especially over a man. It's like, Mm, I I do not ever use the phrase bitch in a book. Like I will not have a character call it. It's just for some reason that word to me is like I don't need that. And I know some people use it like very, very affectionately and however you do, do you. But I really don't like it when women are like fighting each other over a man or particularly hate each other because of like some guy or anything like that. Like obviously not everybody's besties all the time. You can have people who are even like antagonists, like for example in Sips and Strokes, like Harmony, who ultimately gets her own story, is not great like at all to our main character. But the tension feels real and palatable, not just like, oh, I just hate this person. And the other person is not just hateable, like, well, you're just like a super villain, right? So I really don't like depictions of women that make women feel terrible, even if they're not particularly nice, right? So like Harmony is that a good example of that. Liv and Nemesis, or before she gets to Nemesis, people are like, oh my God. She's like not nice to anybody, but she's not just a caricature of like a bitchy woman. And I really don't like, and I don't, but I really don't like it when women are like hating each other over a man. That is like, come on.
No, yeah, I hate that too. I feel like we get enough of that in real life. I don't want to
Yeah.
be in,
Yeah.
I don't want that like toxic, damaging type of thing
Yeah.
in my entertainment. So no, I get it. Yeah, I don't.
I think the high level takeaway here in terms of like writing craft, besides the fact that Sarah and I like to rage at things, is to write things that feel real in some way, even when it's a total fantasy, like bringing yourself out of like, okay, well, I have to write it like this so it will sell more books, or because I think this is what a romance is supposed to be like. Like, write the story that feels right to you. And if you're not comfortable talking about something, probably don't use it in a book.
Yeah,
Um, you
no,
know?
totally. Yeah. And okay, can I also I want to like that's a really good point. I want to comment on this. Like when you say like something is being depicted that doesn't seem authentic or real and it takes you out of the story. So like that's the opposite of that. Well, the opposite of that is why certain types of age gap give me the ick because when
Okay.
it's like a barely legal female main character and a much older male main character,
Hmm.
it just feels very like predatory, which we
Hmm.
see that all the time in like real life, sadly. Like, okay, I don't remember the name of the book. And even if I did, I'm not gonna like say it because I'm not trying to put anybody on blast, but like I read this book where the female main character, she was like she had just turned 18. Like she was like
Hmm.
literally barely legal and she was like the best friend of his daughter and he was like in his like late 30s and that just like grossed me out like so much even though I know that like that's a very
People
popular
love it.
people love it and that's cool. You know, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Like it just like just something about it just really upset me because it just like it reminded me of being like a young teenage girl
Yeah.
and like having disgusting older men like say inappropriate things about you and your body or
Hmm.
like opposition. Like it just and like I just couldn't like it just always gives me the ick when it's that when that's the specific age gap that grosses me
Yeah.
out. And don't get me wrong, I love an age gap romance. I've written an age gap romance like um I've written an age gap romance. My book, One Good Puck, that's age gap. She's 32, he's 49. Like that's a very
Hmm.
healthy age gap, but they're both adults. Like
Hmm.
one is not just like a barely legal adult who's still trying to figure out like what are her
Yeah.
boundaries, what is happening in life. Like that's a very and that was really fun to write. You know, they were older and that they weren't
Hmm.
2 years old. Like that was a really fun type of romance to write. It's just like I don't have any problem with that. I just like it's just the gap. And even like okay, so my college hockey romance series, um all of the characters are like 20, 21,
Yeah.
22. And all of the like not all of the couples, but a lot of the couples have like discrepancies in their sexual experience. Like some are way more experienced sexually, some are not, some are virgins. So you could have like a life experience discrepancy and still be the same age. It's just
Yeah.
like and they handle it fine. Like they're very healthy communicators. They go out of their way to make their partner feel um comfort and feel turned on. But like there's just something about like she's 18, he's 39, and there's just
Yeah.
something that feels very predatory and manipulative. Like, oh, you're just waiting around, like, all right, tomorrow she turns 18, I'm gonna go out. Like, that's just gross to me. It always gives me
Yeah.
the ick. Blech. Sorry. I just
No, no, I completely understand because as a former teacher and like there were scandals at the school I worked at.
that's
That kind of thing, yeah, it's a real trigger for me too because like for teacher student, which I mean, I think that can be done well and hot, like if people are in college, like think there are ways, but um when somebody is barely legal or not quite legal, and I know that also in other countries, like there are other countries and other cultures where this is different, but to me, like yeah, especially given the fact that it was like his daughter's friend, that makes him like a paternal figure. And so like the grooming, the kind of like predatory there are scenarios where things can work and they can work well, but like anything that feels like, yeah, he's kind of just been waiting for it. Like, that is a hard ick for me. And I think in the same way, in terms of like, we're kind of bringing this home now, like keeping it real and keeping it realistic. That's why I don't like the surprise baby or like the secret baby, I guess I should say. I don't like secret baby because it doesn't feel real to me that you would have a child and not tell somebody else that it was their child. Like, I'm sure this has happened in the history of man, but like it feels both irresponsible and cruel,
Mhm.
right? Like, how dare you not or keep that information from somebody? They should know. And I don't even really like Secret Baby. I remember I was reading a book once and it started like the opening chapter, these two people meet on a hike and they end up banging unprotected sex, like in a stream or something, and then she's pregnant. And that's like, and I quit reading, honestly. I was like, I don't want to read this. And it was an author I remember that I like. I can't even remember who it was. I'm sorry. I wouldn't tell them say it anyway, but like I was like, this is really irresponsible, unsafe in like levels. It's just like everything about it was like ick because this is a terrible idea. And there can be like crazy sex scenes that feel unrealistic. My reader group was telling me something about something with a seatbelt, like in a car, and I was like, I don't know what y'all talking about, but it's interesting. But like, yeah, so there are things that can be not realistic or not like, okay, well, obviously everyone's done that one with it, but it still like fits the story. But there are things that are just like irresponsible or strange that's like, this isn't working for me. And therefore, when you're writing things, like think about if you would cringe, then your reader's going to feel it like 10 times harder.
Mhm.
Like if this is the scenario that you would cringe to read or that you would cringe to see play out, then your reader's really going to feel that. They're going to know that you were kind of low key cringing, you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. So we want to know what's your biggest romance ick? Drop it in the show's comments. We will use this as fodder for a new episode on reader versus writer icks. I would love to do that. So we will need kind of a robust conversation going. You can drop it in the show notes or you can send us a DM. You know where to find us. We'll talk about more of that. But before we do, this was very good for me. Sarah, was it good for you?
Hell yeah, it was good for me.
Excellent. So let us know, what are your romance icks? Drop us a rec, or drop us a comment in the show's notes, or find us on social media. I am on Facebook and Instagram at author Skye McDonald.
And you can find me on Instagram and TikTok. I am at author Sarah S.
Collectively, we are author Sarah Skye on Instagram only. And if this episode made you laugh, smile, or go, oh yeah, ick, take a moment to rate us and review the podcast wherever you're listening. It helps other romance lovers find us.
Thanks so much for listening.
Until next time, read what feels good and avoid the ick.